Hi, I'm Mark Scherer. I'm the CEO and founder of Encompass Life and the host of the Encompassing Life podcast. And today we have Tulsy Ball on the show. And Tulsy's quite an interesting fellow. He has been in TV. He was on, what was the name of your show? What was the name of the TV show you were on?
So the first show that I did when I was 19 years old was My So-Called Life.
My So-Called Life. So maybe I'll recognize him from the show because he probably hasn't aged a bit since he was 19. And
Oh,
And now he's been doing some documentaries, but what he's on the show to talk about today is about mushrooms. And specifically, he has a passion for chaga and the benefits of it. So, Tulsi, welcome to the show, and I love hearing your story. I guess we could sit down. You could redo stories for hours, man. So, Tim, just
well,
tell us a little bit about how you got. Yeah, tell us a little bit of how you got into what you're doing here.
yeah, I think both of us have definitely experienced some life, so I know there'd be a lot to talk about. But Mark, I definitely appreciate you having me on and give me a chance to share some of what I've seen and what's going on. So like I said, I made documentary television for years, but my initial background was in botany, chemistry, and so being able to find natural healing products that can help people is kind of at the root of what CHAGA Products is and what we do. CHAGA is the world's most powerful antioxidant. It grows in the far north, where it lives on birch trees, and it's been used by the tribes of Siberia, Finland, Alaska, Canada for thousands of years to help them survive their bitterly cold winters. It is a fascinating life form and really kind of unique even within the mushroom world
Hmm.
because of the cycle of life. It doesn't have a standard, spore form process the same way that most of your functional mushrooms do. So it's one of the reasons why it literally cannot be replicated in a lab. The only way to get real chaga is to get it from a birch tree.
So, what does it do instead of having spores?
So there is a spore form period from the fruiting body, but this is not actually what everyone knows as chaga is not the fruiting body of the mushroom. This is an expression of the battle between the tree that is the host and the mushroom that lives inside in the heart of the tree. And so the mushroom is basically it's symbiotic to the forest, but it's parasitic to the individual tree. And when a tree gets chaga, that birch tree will die. Now that is part of the forest because a tree can't get chaga unless it's already been split and its heartwood has been exposed to the air. So what the chaga does is it gets inside the heartwood, it starts draining the life from the tree. The tree fights back, and this is a result of the trees fighting back against the mushroom infestation inside of it. It is technically a canker, so it's not even a mushroom at all. But it is loaded with nutrients. It's basically all the nutrients from the tree being expressed into this canker in a metabolized and modified form that makes them bioavailable. You can't go up to a tree and chop a chunk off of it and eat it and get anything from it.
Right.
However, the mushroom converts those compounds and change them into simple combinations of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen that you can then absorb through our digestive systems.
Gotcha. So
So
basically, the tree gets cancer,
the tree gets cancer and
and
your eating gets cancer.
and the tree tries to fight the cancer with this expression.
Well, that's the amazing thing is that because the tree is trying to fight the cancer through this expression, if you take it, then it allows you to have a better chance and it helps you fighting cancer.
Interesting. That's so cool.
It really is, like I said, it's a fascinating life form. And we have, pilot programs with inoculation of trees. But what happens is after 15 to 20 years of the mushroom's life, of the lifespan and this growing, Then there's one spring when the story is done and the tree's trunk will burst open and reveal the fruiting body of the mushroom. And at that point, that sends out pheromones and scent to the entire forest. And every animal and insect in the forest goes and devours this fruiting body in the course of, a couple of hours. And then they get spores on them. And they then carry the spores to the next trees as pollinator. So it's one of the only mushroom species whose spores are so large that they're actually carried by animals as pollinators versus carried on the wind.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. I love little known facts. So I'm gonna have something to tell them the next party I go to.
Yeah. Believe me, you're going to go in there and be an expert.
Thank you, sir. So, and you're doing something really different. You said also with the process.
Yeah, so we developed it's a 5-stage process that we utilize to take this, which is, like I said, it's hard as a rock, and it really does not want to cooperate. It holds its nutrients in very tightly, and we do a 5-stage process over the course of over 10 days, and we turn it into a concentrated juice. It is naturally sweet. It's about 1.3 times as sweet as sugar. And we make it, the idea is to take something that is nature's greatest gift and incredibly difficult to use and make it really easy to use. So you can add this to, water. I just added it basically like this. You'll take it and, squeeze a little bit into your water and shake it up, and it tastes like a sweet tea. So it's phenomenal. There's zero sugar, no glycemic index. And with each teaspoon, you're getting the antioxidant equivalent of 6 pounds of blueberries.
How much chaga does it take to make the juice?
So there's about a gram of chaga per teaspoon. So
a gram of the hard chaga per teaspoon. Gotcha. So instead of eating basically decaying birch bark, you can drink it like sweet tea.
Exactly.
I like it. I'm from Texas. I like to simplify things, man. You got to make it simple for Texans, dude.
I mean, that is 100. You know what's amazing? We have a lot of our online clients. We have a big community in Texas, especially around the Dallas area that loves our products. But yeah, that's essentially it. Take something that's difficult, make it simple. The difference between what we do and a lot of the mushroom products out there, they're either powders or pills, and they're a lot less effective. The most of the chaga powders that you're getting on the market, 90% of it is just, it's from China. It's substandard. You don't necessarily know what's in it. It doesn't taste great. You have to try and mix it with something, and it leaves a bunch of particulate matter. And it's just, it's really not, conducive to a good experience. And then you're not usually getting the benefits that you want to get out of it. So, our focus is really being able to combat that issue within the industry and deliver a top quality product at all times that has a consistency, because everything that we get, we have 100% US based supply chain. So all of our mushrooms are from Alaska or Oregon, with the lion's mane, the reishi, and turkey tail, all of those that we get those ones, they're wildcrafted on logs in Oregon, and then all of our chaga is from Alaska. And Alaskan chaga was just proven in a study to have the highest levels of nutrient of any chaga in the world. And it's the cleanest in terms of purity. There's less than 1 part per billion of any of the heavy metals or other compounds that you don't want in your mushrooms.
Oh, congratulations, Tulsi. That's awesome. How long have you been building your company?
I'm doing it for 10 years. So for the first 4 years was just fighting with the FDA, believe it or not. Literally, we started in 2015, and we went back and forth with them about the safety of our product and our process. What we were doing had never been done before. They didn't know where to classify us, and it cost us over $1 million of our personal money before we were able to sell our very first bottle. So that
Wow.
was a brutal, painful process. And we finally got done with it just in time for COVID to hit. So, our company's story is truly one of
First,
overcoming obstacles at every step to be able to deliver something that has enduring value.
wow. Talk about personal commitment, putting your money where your mouth is, dude. That's awesome. Believe in your product. I mean, that takes a lot to put out $1 million. Unless you're, extremely wealthy and like you carry around.
I'm not. No, it is a personal commitment, and I'll say it to the end of my days that in the times when I was at the lowest point and thought that we were going to lose this company and we were a month and a half behind on rent, and the guys that work for me were like, "I've got to leave. You can't pay me." Then I would
Yeah,
God would shine
yeah,
down
yeah, yeah,
and do it would happen.
yeah.
What we needed to survive would be brought to us, and
Wow, yeah.
I have no other answer other than that. This is what we're meant to be doing. This is what I'm meant to be doing. It is a calling, and the people whose lives that we've been a part of and been able to help make all the difference in the world.
Story within the story. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've had experiences like that too. I had companies I tried to just doing for a job and to make money, and then what I'm doing now, it's about all about heart and doing what I really really love, and
Yeah.
to make that transition from a paycheck to doing something you really really I really really love is like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, can I really do this? No one in my family demonstrated that to me.
Yeah.
They were like, just work, just do whatever you can, put some money in the bank, and then live to retire, and then you can get to have some fun.
Yeah.
Well, like that's gonna happen, like no, that doesn't happen with people. Most times they do live their life that way, they retire and die.
Yeah. Because they have no purpose.
No
And
purpose. Yep, that's it.
that's one of the reasons
Well,
I'm,
there you go, man. Well said.
yeah.
The
You know,
purpose-driven life. Yes, sir.
absolutely. And,
So,
and that's
so
why
we're
I love
so
what you stand for.
so where are you selling now? I
So
got I got to
we're
try that. It looks so good. I'm like, I
it is.
don't.
It's awesome. I'll send you a couple of bottles.
That'd be
You'll
great.
love it. But so we're mainly D2C. We're on our website, Chagit, CHAGIT.com. We're also available on Amazon. Probably two-thirds of our business is D2C on our website. A third of it's on Amazon. And then we do ingredient supply. So we're in other people's products. So there's some pretty solid companies out there that we're supplying liquid extract for, specifically for beverages and for a few chocolates.
Oh, awesome. So what's your capacity? Your manufacturing
Um,
capacity, your supply chain capacity.
well, supply chain, it's amazing because people ask that, like, how much chaga is there? And there's an enormous amount of chaga in the forests in Alaska. To give you perspective on it, there's about 16 million acres of birch forest in Alaska. Chaga grows only on birch. So there's 16 million acres in Alaska. Of that 16 million acres, 7 million of it is native Inuit corporation land. The other 9 million is U.S.
Of
federal.
course.
Yeah, and there's chaga concentration is between 1% and 3% of the trees on any given acre. So you think about that. There's 650 trees per acre. You got about probably 12 to 15 trees per acre times 6 million. That means, or times 16 million. You do the math. There's about 200 million chaga in Alaska.
Wow.
There's a, so and chaga, when you harvest it, if you harvest it correctly and you take it at the base and then pry it off as opposed to cutting it off, that the tree will regrow it. And so then a chaga of this size regrows within about 4 to 5 years. So it's a fully sustainable harvest practice that all of our harvesters use. We work mainly
Yeah.
with native Alaskans, and they're doing our harvest for us. So, it's a sustainable and continually recyclable and regrowing supply chain.
Wow.
The only difficulty is most people can't get to the forest in Alaska. So
Right.
you have to know where you're going. But the natives that live there, the tribal villages that live there, they've been doing this for thousands of years. So, they know how much there is. They know where to go, where it's more highly concentrated, because it will be that way. You'll go in areas where you go 5 acres and you won't see a single tree that has it. And then you'll hit the jackpot and you'll have, 50 trees all in one stand, and every single one of them has 3 to 5, sometimes 10 kilo chagas on them. And all of a sudden you got 400 pounds and you got enough to make, a couple thousand gallons.
Wow. I like it. And then the spore, I mean, and then the living organism of the is still in the tree.
Exactly.
And so when it's ready, the tree still pops and still spreads the spores, and you're just taking the byproduct off, which regenerates.
Exactly. That regenerates. And then what you do is if you take that product off, you're actually extending the life of the tree, because the chaga needs to build this up. This is the energy source, right? This is all of those nutrients that have been converted and shoved outside the tree and kept there as an energy source. If you take the energy source away, the mushroom inside has to build it back again before it can do what it needs to at the end. So you're actually extending the life of the tree. And the great thing is that at the end of the life cycle, that tree has been turned to almost pure, like it's literally been turned to dust. So instead of having to fall in the forest and decay over the course of 20 years, it's immediately available
Uh,
bioactive biological material for new forests to grow.
this is fascinating, guy. Wow. Yeah, I've done the mushroom before, and like you said, to me it was real woody. It was hard to even pills it would taste funny. So
Yeah.
I'm really enthusiastic to see how yours tastes and what it does. We have a lot of clients who would also love this. A lot of people we work with are doctors and naturopaths and stuff. So I guess you're selling to those guys directly as well. Yeah.
We are, and we have quite a few doctors that we have wholesale accounts. That's the other place that you're going to find us mostly. We have doctors' offices, naturopathic doctors across the country, doctors on even a few oncology departments that buy the product and share it with their people. We're very deeply involved and committed to the cancer community, because that's where we started. It was the inspiration for the company, and where we've been able to have the most impact in terms of helping people.
Yep.
So, everything that we do contributes to that. And, in a way where we don't take 10% of what we make and give it to some charity. We actually literally give free product. That's what
Gotcha.
we're doing it so that we can supply people who are fighting with a quality product, even if they can't afford it.
Gotcha. And you just mentioned the motivation, what had you start the company. You told me when I was speaking with you before we started the recording that your sister had a lot to do with you doing this.
She did. Because we were just developing a TV show about the guys who harvested the mushroom, and went out and spent weeks in the forest of Alaska and dealt with the winter and bears and moose, and it was a survival show set in Alaska with a golden mushroom at the end of it. But our sister was fighting breast cancer, and in our research we found that it was used, the chaga was used in Russia to make a drug called betulinin that is used to fight breast cancer. So we said, well, we have a source of chaga from the people that we're making this show with, and we got some to her and started making just a basic, tea and a tincture, and it really helped her in her fight with breast cancer. So
So
um,
does it work with other types, or is it exclusively for the breast cancer?
No, it does. It actually, so, the way there's different methods of action that different natural substances will have in terms of the pathways that they affect in regards to cancer. And what chaga is, and it seems from all of the studies that we've read and been involved in, it is a immune system modulator. And so it's not directly cytotoxic to the cancer cells. It has some effect in that. But what it does is it actually helps educate your immune system on how to fight the cancer better. It's like a
Hmm.
code, and
Gotcha.
it points your macrophages and your lymphatic system at the cancer and helps it recognize it. So in a study that we were part of with a couple of doctors out of Texas, Dr. Stephen Barnhill and Dr. Herb Fritsch, he was at MD Anderson, and we worked with them. They did a test of chaga against the 10 of our chaga specifically against the 10 most prevalent cancer cell lines, and it was in vitro. This is not an in
Right,
vivo in
right.
human test, but in vitro in cell lines. And the chaga was effective in killing 8 out of the 10 types of cancer.
Wow.
It was pretty fascinating,
Study.
study.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is effective against a great range of them, and most effective though against cancers of the chest and of the digestive system.
I'm I'm blown away, dude. Really interesting.
Yeah,
So so for people to find your product, you said it's available on Amazon also?
it's on Amazon and it's on our website. And as we move forward with as many naturopathic doctors and an integrative medicine cancer specialists as possible.
And the name of your company so people can distinguish which or are there other liquid out there or no?
Well, there are other tinctures, but there's no other sweet liquid extract direct that's made directly from the mushrooms. We are the only one. So Chagit, CHAGIT.
CHAGIT.
Yep. And I know there's like a little thing where you ask the questions along the way. If there's one thing that I would change in the course of this company, it's that I would if I had to do it again, I wouldn't wait 4 or 5 years for the FDA and the Department of Health to get off their ass and finally tell me it was okay to sell and give to people. I'd have
Right.
done it right away and said, you know what, find me. Get in the line because I'm getting this to people right now.
Gotcha. Yep. When a time has come, it was time for something to come out. I mean, just go out and do it. And you have detractors. You most likely have all type of detractors as well.
Certainly.
Just the proof's in the pudding, man.
Absolutely. And you know what? I mean, for me, like I said, the reviews we get back from people, that the conditions that we've been able to help them with, the way that we've been able to help them improve their lives, I mean, I'm very, very proud of that. That's my mission in life, is to be able to help people. And, in that way, they understand that something that God gave them this gift and
Yep.
gave me,
Yep.
just the
Perfect.
position to be able to help deliver that gift to them.
Yeah, and the perfect situation for all this to come together.
Yeah,
I mean, what are the chances? Well, I'm doing a thing on special on mushrooms in the Pacific Northwest. My sister's got cancer. I'm starting to research what this stuff's doing. Da, 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 da. You got your supply chain. You got this. You have the cash and the emotional, the emotional commitment to really jump in on this.
yeah. I tell you, I used to write TV series for a living, and I wouldn't have written this story.
Yeah, some sometime God does way better.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's awesome, dude. Well, Tulsi, I do have one question that I ask everybody at the end of the show. And my question is, what do you love about life?
I love about life. What's amazing? There's two things about life that I love. I love that in moments of silence, when I'm not in the presence of anybody, I can feel God, and I can feel the life force that's been given to us. And I love, by the same completely opposite token, that when I'm surrounded by people and when I'm in the middle of all of their world, I can still feel God
God, and
as much, if not even more, because that's what He's created. So, I mean, that's really what I love most about life, is that I feel every single day that God's got me.
awesome. Great answer. Great answer, man. All right, Tulsi. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and I wish you continued success in what you're doing. And I got a feeling we're gonna get together and do something together. I believe you got a lot of life force, and I'm curious where it leads. So
100%, Mark. Thank you so much. I look forward to connecting with you off of here, and I'm going to get you out some product. You have to try it, and we'll talk more. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. God bless.